grew up in a 3-parent household, my mom, my father, and my grandmother. I knew what a woman was, not a bad bitch.
Okay, what's the difference?
A woman.
Okay.
A bad bitch is, girl, I'm a bad bitch. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I look the part, but I don't act the part.
Okay.
A woman for me is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bitch, like I'm a this, I'm a that, no, baby, like, but you can't cook.
Okay.
You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead.
Y'all heard it. Everything Suspect Podcast is your boy Billy D. You know how we do. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Cam. This pod is entitled A Woman For Me Is. I wanted to do a podcast on Cam maybe a month ago, maybe longer at this point. I don't really remember. But it was when he had Brittany Renner on his podcast. I really had a huge problem with Cam on that one. But for my own personal reasons and locally, the woman Brittany Renner, she's like officially now known for playing rich guys out of money and things of that nature, or at least in her past she did. And her most recent relationship, I almost said victim, was PJ Walker, who is a young man that plays for the Charlotte Hornets. Cam played for the Panthers. I just thought it would have been dope in that moment to have a brotherly conversation rather than the allegedly manipulative woman come on the podcast. I just thought it would have been a great moment for some unity within the brothers, baby daddies, black fathers. And the reason why I didn't follow through with it, I had a long conversation with my sister about actually doing the show. The reason why I didn't do that podcast was because there was no angle in which, if Cam was to ever hear the podcast, not say, I can have whoever I want to have on my podcast. And then the conversation's over, right? So I wanted it to be a thought-provoking thing that could, I thought he could have did more with that pod, especially, from his position. And he didn't. So I let it go. And I'm glad I did, because lightning has now struck twice on the same brother. But it's flipped this time, and you never let a disaster go to waste, right? So I figured I would do one on this one, and I'm glad I did, because I don't want to do too many topics on one person. And I also it's crazy to, on one podcast, go at a dude that you really like. Met Cam a couple times. He was amazing to my kids. So I got nothing but respect for the brother. Mad that he's gone, wish he was back. But be that as it may, I'm more than happy to take on this topic and break it down from the man perspective and maybe give some insight that you don't get in that clip. So as you see in the clip, he has his way of thinking and what he wants from his woman. And now women, especially black women, are hammering him. And it's being mowed down. Whenever a man says what his preferences are, like Cam did, you get hit one way or another. You're not allowed to have an opinion when it comes to dating, or when it comes to a lot of things in society now with cancel culture running amok, right? But I wanted to hit on a couple topics. Something that, we can do some out-of-the-box thinking on that can really provide clarity on where Cam is and where these women are that disagree with him. So my first point is products of your environment. We are all the sum of our decisions. We are all products of our environment. We are all products of our childhood. And what you see growing up is what you duplicate when you become an adult. In most cases, we reenact what we see as children. What the people that raised us, the people that were examples of adults to us, a lot of times we end up becoming that person, or a lot of things that we do are things that we saw as children. So it's like I've heard, maybe it's Freud, I don't know, but they say that women marry men that are like their fathers. They also say men would marry women who are like their mothers. You get what I'm saying? That's not by accident, that's by design, because that's what you see growing up, and you want that thing that you had as a child, and in some cases you want that thing that you didn't have as a child. And it seems as though people with traumatic experiences when they're young, they want that thing that they never had. And it seems like people who had healthy upbringings, they want the thing that they saw. So if you grew up in a successful marriage, you see the things and the intricate parts of that relationship as you get older, that you say, okay, that's what I want when I become of age. When I'm looking for my woman, I want a woman that does these things because I see that it works in the household in which I grew up in. Other people are like, I don't never want to see that, you know what I'm saying? Or girls with daddy issues, or guys with mom issues, right? We go chasing that thing that we could never get as kids. So if that is the case, that brings me to the society that we live in now. And this is where I draw issue with the backlash that Cam said. People who grew up in an abusive household, or, did not get the things that they needed to become fully rounded adults, we have empathy for those people, right? When you find out somebody was molested as a kid, or they had a serious traumatic loss, or they were abused in some kind of way, shape, or form, we have a great amount of empathy and sympathy and hurt for those people, and we want them to heal, and we want them to become better people, and we want them to be in healthy relationships. And albeit that's 100% what we should do as a society. We're all involved in this human experience, and nobody makes it out of here alive. So the least we can do is be helpful to those who need it. So there's nothing that I'm taking away from that. But on the flip side, in the society that we live in, Cam is being attacked for being the product of a good household. Where do we do that at? This man just sat here and said he grew up in a 3-parent household. His parents have been married for 36 years, almost 40 years. And from his example that he saw as a child, he says, that's what I want when I become of age. When I'm looking for my wife, when I'm looking to settle down, I want what my parents had, because guess what? It's working. In a society where all or 50% of marriages end in divorce, his parents, he is a winner. He was given the example. And that's another point. How much of what he saw as a child and having a nuclear household the way that he did made him the man that he is today, to see the success that he has had in sports? You cannot separate the two. They absolutely go hand in hand. If his father might not have been there, he may not have made it to the NFL. I'm willing to bet he wouldn't have. But, that's just me. How, in this world of unsuccessful relationships, we're looking at... It's funny. I was talking to my mom about the Will Smith situation. She asked me, what did I think? And, how can he get out of it? And I said, the best thing Will Smith can do right now to get out of it and get over it as fast as he possibly could, or as fast as he possibly can, would be to divorce Jada. Let that sink in. I told her that what Will did was not an act of protection. And that's what made me dislike Will in the situation. Was he got up on that stage and said he was protecting something. He said he was protecting his wife. He was protecting his family. That was an act of aggression. He was actually protecting his ego, because his ego has been getting chopped down for who knows how long now. What he did was a cowardly act. Believe it or not. The bravest dude in that room that night was Chris Rock. So that brings me to my final point. I would love to do a sociological experiment, because what I'm willing to bet is this. I'm only referring to the women who have an opinion about the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, Chris Rock situation, who also have an opinion about the Cam Newton situation. The problem I have with the females who believe that what Will did was a good act and what Cam is saying is wrong is you're hypocrites. All Cam is saying is, this is what I saw that would make a successful relationship as far as I'm concerned. Men have to get rejected every single day because we are not what the woman wants. And I tell my female family members, we pick women. Women choose us. I can pick my woman and say, I want you to marry me. But she's not my wife until she chooses to marry me. You get what I'm saying? We pick, women choose. So we can pick a lot of women, but it's up to the woman to accept us and choose us and say, yes, you're who I want. So if you don't like what Cam said, you can shut up and keep it moving. Because we have to shut up and keep it moving when we go to you and we say, we give our credentials, we turn on our resume, and you say, no, you don't work, you can't work here. You can't work on this job. You got to go find another employer, aka another woman, who's willing to put up with what you got to offer. But Cam is getting drugged for that same thing. We're not allowed to do that, but we're allowed to have it done to ourselves. I personally am a traditionalist as well. Not to the extent that Cam is, but I believe that what Cam wants out of his woman, if he can find a woman who will provide that for him, he will have a way more successful marriage than a lot of people out here complaining about what Cam is saying. How many of those women are single too? How many of those women who don't like what Cam said are single? But the whole point is, he is a Neanderthal, and this is the reason why I love what he said, is because if you've listened to any of these podcasts, I always go on record as saying I am a Neanderthal, evolving. I'm getting better, but I still got some old ways, some antiquated ways of thinking, and it comes up on my podcast a lot from time to time. But it's Miss Independent that hates what Cam said, and you have the right to, not like what the man said. However, if you like what Will did, you're not as independent as you think you are. Because now you want somebody to come save you. You want a man to get up and be aggressive. Now you want a caveman. You know what I'm saying? Because like what Will did was a caveman thing as well. He acted out of anger. He went and clubbed somebody. He was Fred Flintstone on that stage. And so you the same woman who hate what Cam said because you independent, and you feel like what he's saying is bringing down a woman, but at the same time you want this other dude who's going up there jumping on dudes for you. You can't have it both ways. You cannot have it both ways. So with that being said, what do y'all think? I personally believe Cam is onto something, and not necessarily because I agree with Cam. I like his citation, and his citation is what he saw as a kid that's still working till this day. Y'all know how we do, man. Thanks for listening. More to come. You want me to talk about any topics? I'm starting to get that a lot now. The folks who listen or the folks who show interest, they want me to like touch on certain topics. So shoot me some topics that you want me to break down, man. But yeah, what do y'all think of what Cam said? Y'all chill.